Home prices in Canada's largest city fell 1.2% in September and have now dropped close to 17% from their peak in February, with the average home selling for $1.1 million in the most recent period. We're joined now by Kevin Krieger. He's president of the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Kevin, more evidence that higher interest rates, i.e. higher mortgage rates, are having a big effect on the market. Summarize what we saw in the most recent period in the Greater Toronto Area.
We saw that effectively average price and volume were marginally up from the previous month, but were, in terms of volume, substantially down year over year. Again, I think in terms of context, comparing it to obviously what was a record year, certainly should be taken into account. The most interesting part, I would say, from the release is the fact that new listings are effectively at a 20-year low. And we're certainly seeing listings taking a larger percentage of overall sales. So certainly tighter market conditions in terms of available supply.
TREB says that the fact that new listings are at their lowest level their lowest September level in 20 years is troublesome. Why so?
Well, I think one of the major concerns, obviously, is the creation of pent-up demand. We've seen a number of people effectively step to the sidelines who are obviously readjusting based on substantial increases in overall interest rates. One of the key drivers of the market obviously has been just very limited supply. So with the government now taking a larger focus certainly on bolstering supply, it's going to be a fairly lengthy process. And certainly in this period, seeing a substantial drop in overall sales volume, but now a very sizable drop in new listings obviously is a concern that it'll create upward pressure on price.
There are municipal elections coming in this province later this month, in just under 3 weeks from now. I believe October 24th is the date. TREB has lots to say about what elected municipal councils all across the province, in big cities and smaller centres as well, can do to make the approval process more efficient and rapid and less costly as well. In other words, I hear TREB saying that municipal councils in some way should get out of the way and make it easier for developers to create new housing. What kind of questions do you think voters should be asking candidates for election when they arrive on their doorsteps prior to the October 24th vote?
Well, I think local councils really have the largest impact on bringing supply to market. And looking at the poll that we recently completed, 71% of voters feel that the focus really should be on supply policy as opposed to arbitrary suppressing demand policies, which really has been the focus of a lot of levels of government thus far. In terms of the development process, not only for large-scale developments, but that missing middle type housing that's so desperately needed in Toronto and really municipalities across the country. Things like duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and in Toronto specifically, 70 to 75% of neighborhood land being zoned exclusively for single family, we certainly need a substantial review of zoning policy and changes to what can be built on an as-of-right basis to ensure that not only large-scale developers are bringing inventory to market, but individual homeowners then have options. There's millions of empty bedrooms across the city, and looking at the option for conversion to duplex or triplex certainly would bring a substantial amount of inventory to market over time.
TREB also believes that mandatory energy audits are a mistake.
Well, I think anything that disrupts the sort of natural flow of the transaction process is a challenge. Home inspections are an option, certainly, and really home energy audits should be dealt with in the same way. Anything that sort of arbitrarily changes the cycle creates an issue because how are you going to have over 100,000 properties inspected for energy audits prior to the point of listing? It certainly will delay inventory coming to market and really should be an optional process for those looking to sell their home.
Land transfer taxes. I know in this city, the city of Toronto, they are contentious. They are sizable and they are contentious. What TREB would like to see land transfer taxes reduced? How much so? And what then do municipalities do with the need to raise revenue?
Well, I think looking at funding tools for municipalities really is going to be a key conversation on a go-forward basis in any case. When you look at the number of services and the substantial infrastructure that's required, In Toronto specifically, we have water mains that are 140 years old in pockets of the city, and really limited resources in terms of how ultimately they can raise funds. The challenge with land transfer tax and in many cases substantially increasing development charges is that it essentially puts the burden and onus on one group of people. Toronto is the only municipality that has obviously a double land transfer tax, and it's a sizable amount of money that creates a substantial barrier to entry for many.
Lastly, going back to prices, TREB's chief market analyst says that at $1.1 million as an average selling price, that selling prices may have found support at that level. What more can you tell us about pricing and what TREB sees ahead?
Well, I think looking at the trend specifically around new listings, with obviously listings being at a substantial low, we are going to see effectively support for price. We obviously are seeing a market that's adjusting. We've had a number of people who have sat on the sidelines, and I think looking into October and looking to see what volumes are like will be an indicator, obviously, of what overall volumes will be this year. But certainly with the low level of inventory, I think there will be upward pressure on price.